That was embarrassing. That performance from Manchester United and from Ruben Amorim tactically was nothing short of a disgrace. We cannot have nice things. I'm saying earlier today, we beat Everton at home and we can go fifth in the league. And we're in quite a nice position. But we got a reality check today. We've got a reality check. Oh, Ruben Amorim, he's still stubborn and doesn't change even when he's 1-0 down against 10 men. Oh, these players, you can't rely on them to show up every week and give you the same intensity. Okay, yes, no Sesko, no Cunha, big below there. I did say Xerxes needs a run of games to get the rust out of his legs. He was rusty today. We know that we play better when Ahmed is at wing back. And that's not because I'm saying Ahmed is better at wing back, but I think that is because when you play two fullbacks at wing back and you play a back five with two fullbacks, you wonder why we struggle to create. And what annoyed me most about that game today was the red card was a little bit of a gift. It was a silly red card. You're not going to get, the opposition's not going to get a red card like that against you again. We're at home. We have a good record at home. We're at 5 games unbeaten. We should have some confidence. We have the whole international break. We should be up for it. The players didn't look up for it. The players didn't seem to know what to do. The centre-backs were thinking, do we step up? Do we go wide? But we're playing a flat back 5 at home against Everton. You know, Mazraoui is not a wing-back. We know his best role is right centre-back. Dorgu is all right if you've got, Ahmad as the other wing-back. But we've known this under Ruben Amorim. We play our best football when Ahmad's at wing-back because, you don't have 5 defenders on the pitch, you have 4, and we look better going forward with 4 defenders on the pitch. But we had 5 defenders on the pitch, and we still concede. And it was just so disgusting to watch. Do you know what really annoyed me? Is you're 1-0 down to Everton, at home. Why don't you just take a centre-back off? I know that Amorim has to stick to his principles, and I'm not saying that Amorim should move to a back 4. He can line up in a back 5. But when you're 1-0 down at home against 10 men, why don't you just take a centre-back off and bring on another attacker and go back to a 4 at the back? Why do we have to play with this flat back 5 all the time, even when we're 1-0 down? Because I'm saying this now, I've been trying to be positive about Amorim, but I said my biggest concern about Amorim is his lack of tactical flexibility. What did we see today? Amorim's lack of tactical flexibility. Good coaches, elite coaches, and just above average coaches would have changed. Would have seen they gone down to 10 men and they would have had a different game plan. When we were against 10 men Everton, our fullbacks, and I don't know if this is what Amorim's told them to do because I can't think he would have, they were barely attacking. Mazraoui and Dorgu were barely attacking. Nothing. We were against 10 men at home to Everton, and it was just cowardly. We were playing literally a flat back 5. If you're going to play 5 at the back, you need bombing wing backs. So maybe we don't have that. Ahmad's the only one that's able to do that. I get that. But we just had a flat back 5. And the problem is, I just feel like Luke Shaw's like, when am I meant to step up? When am I meant to go wide? Euro's like, am I meant to be here or there? It felt disorganised. Ruben Amorim's been talking about all the training time he's had, and they've learned his tactics. But the players didn't know what to do because it was like you've told them to play the game this way. We've gone 1-0 down against 10 men, and the expectation is for them to score and play a bit on the front foot. And it was like they didn't know what to do. And I'm not completely blaming Amorim. I think the players were a disgrace today. I think the lack of intensity from the players was worrying. I think the chances we created was due to Amorim's system. It was overloading the wide spaces and swinging balls in, which is great if you've got Sesko in the middle. We put some great crosses in, and Boomo put some fantastic crosses in. Xerxes almost scored. But we're finally putting crosses in the box when Sesko's not there. Like, Sesko's in the box, no crosses. Sesko not in the box. I mean, some people are saying we created more XG than them. All we need is better attackers to win that game. You can't blame Amorim. He can't score himself. It's not completely on Amorim. Xerxes was rusty. He didn't have Sesko. He didn't have Cunha. The lack of intensity was bad. But we're at home to a 10-man Everton for 80 minutes. Our XG should be higher than them. It's not, let's praise Amorim because our XG was higher than them and it's the players because Xerxes missed that header. It's also, you've got to look at the tactical approach from the manager. Why was it so defensive? Why was it we're going to keep with this flat back 5 throughout the whole 90? Why not take a centre-back off and bring on a midfielder? Why not give Shea Lacey 10 minutes for Lenny Yoro? Because that's my problem. That game could have gone another half an hour and we wouldn't have scored. Yes, we created chances, but Pickford had maybe 2 good saves to make. And yes, Everton did nothing because they had 10 men and they were 1-0 up. They went behind the ball. And it's frustrating and it's not easy. But every time we play with the majority of the ball, we lose. When we don't have a lot of the ball, we do quite well. But the minute we have possession and we're expected to dominate possession, we struggle. And that's not just on Amorim, that is on the players. We don't have the players, the personnel that's set up for it, of course. But it's worrying. It's the worst performance of the season. I think it's one of Ruben Amorim's worst tactical performances, but I think it was disgusting from everyone. I don't think you could sit here and say this is just on Amorim. I think you have to look at the players and go, did you give 100%? I mean, the amount of sloppy passes we gave away, it's not Amorim's fault that the players can't pass the ball 5 yards. We had 25 shots, we had more XG, we're 1-0 down for 70 minutes, chasing the game, and it felt like an awful performance. Some people think it's not a bad performance. I thought it was atrocious. Okay, 10 men, Everton very physical, whatever. But for me, I thought that was one of the worst performances I've seen. It was, unless Bruno scores a wonder goal or Mbeumo comes up with something magical, we were going to lose that game. We started 7 defensive-minded players at home to Everton. And even when they went down to 10 men, we still had 5 at the back. Until about 70th minute. You know? And we had 5 at the back throughout the whole game, but we changed Ahmed at half-time to be wing-back. But 72 minutes in, I remember thinking, it just felt like we could have had 50 of us versus their 10 men and we wouldn't have done nothing. It was so sideways, backwards. The fact that Tierno Barry had won the most number of aerial duels for a single player in a game this season, and they showed that in about the 70th minute. He played about 70 minutes, and he broke the record for most aerial duels won in a single game, and he's a striker. All the other people were defenders on that list. We were, you can't completely blame Amorim. I think the tactical approach of Amorim was bad, but we weren't winning our headers, we weren't winning the second balls, we weren't winning duels. It's like we came to that game with 2 hours sleep. Everton were more up for it, and I'm just so annoying. Do you know what I'm angry about? Is at least last season, it was another shit performance. We've got the Europa League final, season's over soon. Obviously, we didn't win the Europa League, but you know what I mean. With this, it's we could go 5th. We could build something. Now it is, Cunha's out. We're bad. Amorim is being stubborn again. We're going to lose Ahmed and Mbeumo for AFCON. We could be in trouble soon. That 5-game period is looking like a blip because only 3 of them are actually good. And I don't want it to be a blip. I want to sit here and be able to say I was wrong about Amorim and to say that Amorim is the future of this club. I want to be able to do that. I want to be wrong. But it's difficult. I mean, the players are crossing the ball when Sesko's not in the box. The players are giving the ball away. We can't break down Everton if we can't sustain pressure. I mean, Gary Neville kept saying it. One of the centre-backs needs to just step higher on the ball. Even if Amorim wants to continue with 3 centre-backs, get one of the centre-backs to come up the pitch. Unless he's told the centre-backs to do that and they're not following his instructions, who knows? But get your wing-back and your centre-backs to get up the pitch. We were defending quite low. Get them to get up the pitch at least. I thought Mbeumo was quite good. I think Mbeumo for me was the only player that I felt like was trying to make things happen. He was the only player I think had a good game today. Literally the only player. I mean, Dilic didn't really put a foot wrong, but probably Mbeumo. Xerxes, I'm not going to give him a stick. He's so rusty. He's not had many minutes. I thought Maino's cameo was bright. Bruno was the only guy that, again, tried to make something happen. I don't think Ahmad was good. I think Yoro looked a bit rusty, to be honest, and I'm a big fan of Lenny Yoro. I thought Luke Shaw was frustrating. Dorgu, I like him, but frustrating. Mazraoui looked poor, but he's not a wing-back. And I do look at it, and I just think there's no adaptation between game states. There's no adaptation. You can do your 3-4-3. You can have your tactical approach. You did some adaptations with long ball, but But the problem was, with the long ball approach that Ruben Amorim's adapted to recently, that works when you're not expected to dominate possession. But the minute you have 11 men versus 10, you're going to have to dominate possession. So we can't do the long ball approach. We need to be able, we can play well when we don't dominate possession, but we need to be able to sustain a style of football when we do dominate possession. Now, of course, we need midfielders. Of course, we need a wingback. Of course, we need recruitment. But I do think when you're up against 10 men, we should be able to show more creativity. And Bruno's a good player. Ahmad's a good player. Bruno's created the most chances in the league. I still believe there's a good player in Xerxes. I know it wasn't great. Mason Mount's on the pitch. It's not like we had Højlund and Garnacho was our only attackers and everyone else was defensive player like last season. I know we had injuries, but there was still enough quality there, I think, to have given Everton more of a test. Everton were the better team with 11 players. I mean, the first 10 minutes with 11 players, Everton were all over us. With 10 players, they sat back. Drewsbury had a moment of magic. And we didn't really do much. We tested Pickford once or twice. They didn't do anything after that. But when you're down to 10 men, all you need to do is see if you can get a wonder goal and sit back and frustrate them. And that's what happens. We're against 10 men for 70 minutes. We're not creating enough chances. Today was not a good night for us, as Delic said. We lacked the patience to play through the lines, Delic says. But I think we didn't lack patience. I think the issue was just the performance. I think the issue was just we were unsure. I think we felt disconnected. And do you know what the worst part was? Is when we went 1-0 down, about 10 minutes into the second half, I went, yeah, we're not scoring. I could just see it. And I shouldn't be saying that to a United fan.